The business all started off right from my bedroom, and I started it with my school fee, which was 25,000 naira at the time. I am Adeola Akimola, the creative director of Corporate Ewa. Corporate Ewa is a brand that is into Ewa going as its signature recipe, and I am 23 this year, and the business all started off almost 3 years ago, right from my bedroom. I was in the hostel, thinking through what I could do to make a living, to survive and all that. And then while scrolling through my Twitter page, I came across a friend's tweet that says, oh, where can I get Ewa going in Benin? I was in Lagos, and so the thought came to my head, and I'm like, okay, this Ewa going is even available to the top class in Lagos. Do they have access to it? And so I went through my socials, tried to search and see if there's any brand that is currently doing it and is popular with it. I didn't find any then, and so I saw that, okay, this is an opportunity for me to fill. But the problem there was, I'm not a Togolese person. I'm from Ondo State, and I never grew up eating Ewa going, unlike every other Lagosians. And so it was quite challenging. The first challenge was basically how to prepare the Ewa going sauce. I searched through YouTube, and I did all of those research, and I tried it just as it was then, and I still didn't get it. So I had to go down to the street, get on the street, get to familiarize myself with the real sellers of this Ewa Goi, and I got to meet several of them. I spoke to them. Most of them cherish their knowledge, and so they will not just teach you because you came to them to learn. No, a lot of them rejected me, and along the line I was fortunate to meet one that was willing to teach me. I paid her some amount of money, went to her house, and I got to learn. And then it started. The beginning was very rough, trust me. I started it with my business. I was the last white then, and I started it with my school fee, which was 25,000 naira at the time. Logistics was a very tedious issue for me. When we first started, I started alone, although I've always used the we because I've always viewed it as, being beyond me. And so the logistic issue was very serious. At first, I was using Ope bike. Back then, Ope bike was still fully functional in Lagos, so I'll put those food in a sack, then move about with it, drop off to the customers. But it wasn't easy because imagine you cooking and having to do the dispatch yourself and all of that. So at some point, I moved on to using mushroom logistic operators, those small ones around, and they were not delivering to satisfaction. We were having damages and all. So I had to, after a while, I thought about it, and I got my own logistic bike. And on getting my own logistic bike, that was when I figured that the issue was basically not with bike, it was just the riders. And so managing the bike was, it got me into a very serious debt. I was meeting with the very crazy riders, and so I had to sell the bike. After that time, I took a break. I think I took a break of like 2 weeks, and then after the break, I re-strategized, and from then I was operating from Iyanoiba, and I had to move to a more central location, because one thing you need to know in Lagos is the traffic and all of that. The only way you can avoid it, like you can manage it to an extent, is if you move to a more central location. So I knew I needed to move, and so I moved from Iyanoba, rented a kitchen at Ikeja. From there, we managed, and the business got better. The logistic problem was manageable because when you operate from a central location, you have access to pool of logistic options. If you don't want to use bikes, you can use the Uber, and you just have better options than it was back in Iyanoba. And from there, we moved to Surulere. From Surulere, I was doing it from my apartment because, trust me, the cost of properties in Lagos is very, very crazy. But then we were able to manage, and as the money was coming in, we kept saving, and after which we opened our official workspace earlier this year. The business started off with just 25,000 naira, but now the revenue is in millions monthly, and so that is how it has been. It was not easy managing the business with school. LASU was very, very, very demanding for me. Mathematics was not easy. also. You know, when you are the cook, you are the content creator, you are the dispatch rider, you are all in all. You have to fend for yourself, you have to keep the business going, all of that. So I couldn't manage the pressure anymore, so I had to quit the school that year. I mean, I think around December I had to stop, and on stopping after that, now that we have, you know, stabilized and, you know, put structures and people in place, and now I'm returning to run a next Ford program, and, you know, that's just that about school for now. I have always believed that the only competition I have is with my past. I know where I'm coming from, I know where I want to be. So it doesn't really matter if my mates are, you know, my mates are done with school, they are doing medicine, they are doing this and that. I know where I'm going, I know where I'm coming from. And so my only competition basically is with my past. Am I where I want to? Am I where I used to be in the past? No. Am I approaching where I want to be? Yes. And so that is it for me. I am not pressured by my environment. I don't need, you know, I'm not pressured by, the only pressure I have is I don't want to be who I was yesterday. And so that has always been it for me. If you have a business idea, you have an idea in your head, don't be overwhelmed by how much it would cost to, you know, to realize these ideas. Write out your plans. For every plan you write, there's always a way you can shrink the cost down. There's just always a way. So if the idea is costing you 1 million naira to, you know, to actualize, start cutting down, cut it down until it gets to your budget. Even if it has to do with you renting everything you'll be using, pending when you can afford your own, do that. Do you understand? Then the second part is, before you take a risk, this is what I did. When I started the business, I started with my school fee, and I calculated my risk in the sense that what is it going to cost me if this business does not succeed? And so I told myself, okay, what would happen is I'll drop out of school. And, you know, if I drop out of school, the highest that will happen after that is I'll get back to the streets, you know, just find a manual job, do before I return again. So I knew those were the things I stand to lose. And then I now try to weigh the other aspect of it. Okay, what do I get to gain if the business succeeds? And trust me, my gains were more than my losses, like the calculated losses. The gains were more, and so I gave it a shot. So I didn't listen to anybody. When I called my sister, I called friends, and, you know, I told them I want to start, I want to do beans business. They were like, do you know where I say, Ofe Makire, we're going? And, you know, it was funny, but one thing about me, once I say I want to do something, I am going to do it. There is nothing you will say that will stop me. So that has always been me. Even if it fails, no problem. At least I witnessed that failure, and it is not a failure if you witness it because you have learned from it. And so that has always been it for me. If you have an idea, please chase after it. And trust me, idea does not run through just one person. Don't think, oh, this idea, nobody has come up with it before, and so I am the only person that has the idea. Oh, when I start it like this, I'll just go boom. Now, lie, there are other persons that this idea that you think is to you alone, they have it as well. And it is just about how soon are you able to start it, you know, just so for me, once you have an idea, think of ways to do it, the funds you need, try to shrink it down to what you have. Even if you don't have, you know, money, try to see, can I borrow those things? Can I rent those instruments and all? And then you'll be fine, trust me.